Welcome back to the shop, guys. I'm going to get started back on my Fireball tool fixture plate. So the last video that you've seen is getting the mounting plate bolted onto this thing, getting it machined and bolted down. So now we're back to the shaper. This is going to be shaper footage right here. This is going to be more cast iron practicing and trying to get a good, nice flat surface on this cast iron plate here. All right, so I've already got some parallel set up here in the vise, got everything clean, and what we'll do is set this thing down in here. Everything's clean, free of dust, chips. Alright, we're going to set it in there, center it up real good, clamp it up, tighten it down, and we're going to start our surface cuts here. And what we'll end up doing is cutting the top of it nice and flat, and then we're also going to cut the sides in. We're going to do all that right here on the shaper. And then what we want to do is get it bumped down. Let me find my hammer. And you just want to seat it. You don't want to hammer it down. You see your parallels are moving there, so let's see. That one's tight, that one's still moving. There we go. And that one's still snug, so it's firmly seated down on those parallels now. Here's the tool that we're going to use to rough it out. It's just a simple radius tool. I got a fresh grind on it and a fresh hone right on that edge, and it's just simply a roughing tool. So we'll use this. I'm going to use a coarse feed, probably a 60,000 step over, and try to get across it pretty fast. And we'll try our best to try to get this under the rough scale the first pass, so we'll see how we do. I've got the machine set up for this piece of material. It's set at 28 strokes a minute. Now doing the calculation, the cutting speed times 7 divided by the length of the cut puts me at 38 surface feet per minute. So I usually run it a little bit slower than what the recommended speeds are, so the next size down was 28. Recommended cutting speed for cast iron, the book says 60 feet per minute. Let's see if we can get it touched off here. Alrighty, it's just now touching it there. $60,000 step over. Alright, so this is 20 thousandths on the dial there. Let's see if that'll clean it up. So far, so good. Now here's something crucial that I just reminded myself that I'd forgot about. When you're doing cast iron work, you see this edge is chipped off right there? That's something that's going to happen with cast iron if you don't bevel the edge. So what they recommend to do is you take a file the corner on a bevel that clears the chip coming out through there. So I'm going to go across here and I'm going to file that all the way across. All right, we just filed the edge. Now this may not be that important to this piece because remember, we're going to be cutting the sides as well. So this may be trimmed up, but I'd rather go ahead and be safer than sorry and hopefully have some good fresh lines on the edge of this part. There's our finish using our roughing tool, and it appears that I got everything on the first pass across there. I got it cleaned up completely. Maybe this spot right there, there's a little dark spot there. It looks like it may be still a little porous there. But what I find interesting is all these spots on this side right here. I don't really see that many on this half of the plate, and on this half I do, and it looks like it's in the material, it's in the cast. So just something that I'm taking notice of. Doesn't matter really. Our edge did so much better with the bevel filed on the edge, so I can see where I see why they teach that. Bevel your edges on your cast iron when your tool is going to come off. So man, I'm happy with it. It looks pretty good. I think from here we're going to go, I was going to say maybe we'll go ahead and finish it, but you know, I think we need to go ahead and at least get maybe 2 of the sides done. I don't know. Let me think about that, because I don't want to flip it. I want to finish it right there where it's at. So I can't do this side or this side right there. So we may just go ahead and finish it. We might just go ahead and finish it right now, just like we're doing. Okay. And I wanted to touch on something else again while we're just chatting about this. I'm chatting about it. I still get a lot of people that make comments about what's the benefit of using the shaper over a milling machine. You know, your classic comment is, why not use a mill? Why not use a Bridgeport? Why not use an end mill? You know, something like that, you know, a rotating cutter. And first and foremost, I want people to understand that this machine right here is something that I have a passion for. It's something that I enjoy personally, and I'm enjoying learning how to use this thing, and I enjoy this old style of machining. I know that in most applications it takes longer than you would sometimes do in a milling machine or any other kind of mill. Okay, so I think for the guys that really appreciate this content, appreciate the channel, and know what I'm about, I'm not talking to you guys. It's the ones that don't understand who I am and haven't taken the time to learn who Adam Booth is. I'm enjoying using this machine and learning how to shape. And one of the benefits when you're talking about comparison is we just got this 10.5-inch square piece of material faced off in about 4 minutes. Okay, that's about what it takes. Now it's not finished, that's just a rough cut. We used one piece of high-speed steel that's mounted in this tool over there that you can regrind. So I didn't burn up carbide. I didn't burn up carbide inserts. All right, and I have a nice pattern. I really like the patterns that these shapers make whenever they make their cut versus your swirl marks in there. Okay, so you guys over on the milling machines that are using indexable face mills, a lot of times when I see cuts that have been made with those face mills, I don't like the way the finish is. It's got a terry finish, and then you have drag on there too. I think this is a really cool finish, very pretty, and when done right, it looks top notch. So the benefit of what I'm getting at is that you can still cut in a large area in a short amount of time, okay? The other benefit is I'm using a cheap high-speed tool bit versus expensive carbide tools. All right, so if this is in a real shop environment, people are most likely not going to be using a shaper. This is not in a job environment. This is my personal shop. This is a project. This is something I'm having fun doing, okay? But even if this was in a job environment where somebody's paying, you can still use this kind of machine to get this stuff done. It's still going to get the job done, especially if you had something like this that you don't want to get all this cast iron over your expensive milling machines or your expensive CNC machines. Go to the old shaper and make it flat. You know, you make use of that machine while the other machines are busy doing other more important expensive jobs to make money. I'll touch on something else I get a lot of comments about beforehand. Just this is the tool that we're going to use. It measures about 300 thousandths wide. Still sharp as a tack, but we're going to rehone it using the same method that I shown before by using our oil stone. All right, so I wanted to touch on the angle of this clapper. I get a lot of guys asking me why this is angled the way it is, and a lot of people are misunderstanding how this thing is functioning. They think that this is swung the wrong way. All right, this clapper is designed so that your tool clears on the backstroke. It allows it to lift. It usually doesn't lift it much, not enough really to see it, but it lifts it enough so that it doesn't drag on the backstroke, and this is usually stepping over as this is moving back, okay? It does that by design. But a lot of people think that the angle of this clapper is the wrong way. And what it allows you to do whenever you're feeding, when the tool is feeding this way and the table is feeding that way, you want your clapper to be swung opposite the direction of your feed, okay? So that's why we got it kicked that way. Now I want you to visualize this as I swing this out, okay? I can't go very far with it. But as that is going out, I want you to see the arc. The arc is making the tool go that way. It's going out and around that way because of the position that this is swung in, okay? So if you had this clapper swung this way in the feet of the direction that I'm normally doing, whenever you go back like that, it's going to bring your tool over into the material that you haven't cut yet. So that's why the clapper is swung that way, because of the arc. It's swinging out and that way, in that direction, away from your material. I've got the tool kicked at a slight angle, somewhere around 3 to 4 degrees maybe. I can see a nice hone on that tool. We're going to go ahead and try right there. I'm going to file a bevel on the back side there, just to make sure that there's no scale or grit that the tool is going to go into. Even though it's been ground from the factory, I'm going to go full step over on this thing. 180 thousandths. All right, here we go. go. We'll have to make another cut. It's not cleaning it all the way up. There we go. First cleanup cut. Now from the start of that cut to clean up, just over 3 minutes. That's how long it took to clean that, make that pass. All right, there you can see our finish. We didn't really do very much in the middle. It's cutting more on the perimeter of it. So it's looking good out here on the edges. Let's go ahead and make another pass. Just started our clock. That's only 2 thousandths on the dial right there. There's our time, 3 minutes going across that plate. There's our finish from our second finishing pass, and it's got a nice smooth feel to it, man. I absolutely love it. It's got a little bit of oily substance there from the vacuum cleaning it off there. I think I want to rehome my tool and try this one more time. It's satisfactory where it's at, but I'm going to see if I can improve it just a little bit. So I'm going to get that done, and I'll show you my results. This is our final finish cut there. Rehomed the tool, and I tried to take only 1/1000th this time. Well, there it is. There is the final finish cut on the top, and I'm very happy with it. It looks great. I'm glad that I touched the tool up with the hone and tried to dial in just 1/1000ths there, and it did a good job. I haven't even touched it yet. I just vacuumed it up from above it and then dusted it off with a rag because I didn't want to get any fingerprints or anything on it. I want to try to get a couple good pictures of it. Just touching that edge there, it feels great, nice and smooth. So that finish cut right there, just like I showed you a minute ago, that's a 3-minute finish cut on a workpiece that size, which is 10.5 by 10.5. So the next step is I'm going to cut the sides in. I guess we'll start with this side right here, and we'll use our automatic down feed to clean this side up, and then we'll come over here and change our setup and then cut this side. And once we have these two sides squared up, then we'll take it out of the vise and rotate it, and then cut our other, which will be these two sides right there. And that's going to be the next step. And then after that, it's going to be going to the mill and putting our tapped holes in there. This is a tool that I've been grinding up to cut in the sides, and what it's meant to be used for is either direction. So you can come in and cut on the left side or come in and cut on the right side. It's going to have a neutral rake. We're just putting a radius on the end of it right there. I'm going to see how this does. I'm not too concerned about the finish on the side. I just want it to look good and have a smooth finish. So we'll try this out and see how it does. Just want to finish touching up my hone, and then we'll go over to the machine and give it a try. We got the tool touched off. We got a dial indicator over here because I like using that more than this right here. We're going to move it 25. And that'll be our cut right here. So we'll be using our automatic down feed to cut the sides. We've already got the cam plate set, and then this is where you set the feed. So we'll probably do an either 8 or 12 thousandths feed rate and see how that looks. I can tell that I'm not cleaning it up, so I'm going to take another 25. Looking pretty good, actually. If I start getting into that scale, I'm going to back off. I'm going to stop the cut and feed it over some more. I was hoping to maybe clean it up at 10 1/4 square. And we had about 100 thousandths to take off. There's our first side finished in on the cast iron, and it looks good. It's got a nice smooth feel to it. So I ended up setting one in on the, I'm sorry, 16 thousandths feed rate. That's what I ended up using. 16 thou feed, so we got a radius on the tool there, and it looks good. I can see just a little bit right here in this area of porosity in the cast. So I know Jason had asked me, did I see any in it, and so far that's the worst I've seen, that little spot right there. But yeah, it looks good. So I'm going to reverse all this. We're going to go to the other side and go ahead and clean that side up as well. I'm trying to touch off. It's a little hard to see the tool over on that side. I put this piece of paper here, this envelope, so that I can hopefully see some chips falling on it whenever I touch off. There we go. That worked pretty good. All right, get the tool set just above the part there. I'm going to go ahead and offset it 50 thousandths to start off with. I think I'm just going to leave that paper there during the cut. Alright, a little update of where I'm at. So I've got these two sides even we're at 10" 200 thousandths. And what I say by even is that I've been using my depth mic here, and I've been measuring off the side of the plate over against the base plate on the bottom, since that's a square plate, and I've got those even on both sides right now, and that's leaving me exactly 200 thousandths to bring it to 10 inches. I had thought about leaving it like 10 1/4, but since it's cleaning up under that, and I don't want to make it, you know, some oddball size. The bolt spacing is designed to be at 2" centers across this thing, you know, so you'll come in 1 inch, you know, and then 2, 4, 6, and 8. So if I left it like it is, you're going to have a little bit more distance between the edge of the plate and the first bolt pattern all the way around the perimeter. So I've decided I'm going to go ahead and just make it 10 inches even. So I'm going to continue on cutting it. I'm not going to bore you with every cut, but I'm going to get it in where I need it to be, and I'll bring you back. That's a 50 thousandths depth of cut there. I'm going to take a 50, a 40, and then I'll clean it up with like a 10 thousandths pass. And then I'm going to come over here and do this side again just like that. I'm getting ready to make my final cut on this side right there, and it should be around 10 thousandths or so. So I'm just going to mic it. Looks like 12.5 thousandths. I'm going to kind of check it up here in the middle also. Looking like 12.5 there as well. So I'm just going to dial in 12 thousandths on this side and make a finish cut. That's that finish cut there. I've been gradually slowing down the strokes per minute, and I finally got it at a comfortable speed there to where it's not burning up the edge of the tool. I did notice that on my previous cuts with the faster surface speed that it was kind of breaking the edge off the tool, and with that speed right there, it seems to be doing really well. Okay, we got her finished up there. Nice cut. I got it all vacuumed up. Let's see where I fell on my size there. Shooting for 10 inches. All right, looks like we're 1 thousandths over. 10 inches, 1 thousandths. Not bad. That table, trying to feed that thing a thousandths it's kind of a sticky feeling. It's hard to get it exactly where you want it. So yeah, that's a thousandths over right there too. All right. So it finished in good though. It's got a nice smooth feel. It's just the finish looks different than the top. So I'm happy with it. All right, this side's done. Now I'm going to flip it 90 degrees, and I'm going to repeat it on those sides there and get this thing squared up. Okay guys, so we're working on the other two sides of it now. I'm just mimicking what I did before, except for this time around I'm going to take 150 thousandths off of each side, and then I'm going to take my measurements to see where I'm at. That should leave me with a little bit to take off, and then I'll make some finish cuts on both sides, making it, trying to make it as even as I can. So I'm just going to take 3 passes at 50 thousandths of depth per pass, and we'll go back and finish it out. And what I'm looking forward to doing after I get this thing squared up is go into the granite plate and doing some inspections on it to try to see what kind of flatness we got on the surface, on the top surface. I want to see what kind of, how flat it is, you know, what kind of rise and fall we'll get, like a valley between the tool marks. But also want to see how parallel it is as well. I want to see how flat it cut it. So we'll do some checks after I get all this squared up. Alright, we got it all squared up now. I made my finished cut there. I still need to do some filing. I want to see where I'm at here on size. Shooting for 10 inches. So it looks like I hit it at 2/1000ths over, so 10 inches 2/1000ths, and we were at 10 inch 1/1000ths this way right here. That was with trying to, you know, touch the tool off right here. And what I did is I touched that tool, I touched it and I took 9/1000ths because I had 11/1000ths reading on the mic. So I was assuming that I was going to take 10 and maybe leave 1. So it's okay, man. This isn't critical. It's just a target. So I'm at 2/1000ths over back there as well. It's cutting very nice and square. Very cool. All right. Well, I'm going to do some filing on this thing. I want to break all those 4 corners right there, make sure the tops are filed, the sharp edges are off, and I hit it with a little bit of this gray Scotch-Brite just to kind of remove any of the fuzziness on the side right there and clean it up. And from here, I want to go to the granite plate and do some inspection on it to try to find out how flat we are.